Good afternoon, my dear friends in India and from elsewhere. I'm sure you are enjoying the hospitality and great ideas being debated in the Prout Convention, and I would love to be there to meet you physically, but unfortunately I couldn't come because my classes are open. I can't leave my classes behind and come to India for a week and talk about the subject in physically, but I thought that I would send you some message, some videotaped message. Now this is a home-drawn affair, home-drawn work. My son is helping me to make this video, and I hope it's clear enough for you to understand what I'm trying to say. I'm going to talk about Prout and world poverty. Prout is a theory authored by my late teacher, Shri Prabhat Ranjan Sarkar. I had a lot of respect for my teacher, but that's not why I like the message of Prout. I like its message because of its logic, because of its broad-minded spirit, and because it can solve the problems of the world. Yes, we are going to talk about world poverty. What's the basic reason? What's the basic cause of world poverty? We all know that there is a lot of poverty in India, even in China, and of course many nations in Africa are also very poor. But few people realize that there is a lot of poverty in the United States as well. According to official statistics, these are the official statistics, almost 40 million Americans live below the poverty line. That means that some of them even go hungry. 5 million people in America go hungry, miss one meal a day. Another 5 million are homeless. They have no roof on themselves. So poverty in America is very real. Maybe it's not as bad to be poor in the United States as it is to be poor in India, but still there is a lot of poverty in America and in many other parts of the world. There's poverty in Australia, Canada, and the question is why? What's the main cause of poverty? Not just in the third world, not just in developing nations and industrialized nations, but why is there poverty, so much poverty in advanced economies as well? And the interesting part is that after a lot of research and soul-searching contemplation, I've come to the conclusion that the main cause of poverty is official corruption. It's the government which is responsible for its own people and nothing else. I mean, I know the economists constantly talk about the lack of capital, the lack of industry, new technology, lack of savings, lack of education. They talk about these other factors to say that these are the reasons for poverty. But all these other factors are present in the United States. The US has an advanced economy, advanced industry, new technology, the internet, the computer revolution, a lot of capital, highest level of education. The US is the leader in many of these things, yet there is so much poverty in America. So if you want to look at one common thread that will explain deprivation, that will explain the lack of goods available to people all over the world, then that common thread is government corruption. Let me give you a simple example of how corruption causes poverty? Well, many people know that corruption causes poverty in developing countries. That idea is very well known. But is it also responsible for poverty in developed countries? That's what I will explain now. For instance, let's look at the price of oil or price of petrol. It has been rising sharply in the last 2 to 4 years. Ever since 2002, the price of petrol has been going up. Now, the official version in the United States is that this price is rising because of rising oil demand from India and China and a bit from the United States. That's the official version. Another explanation they give is that, well, OPEC has a monopoly. OPEC, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, keeps this price high. And I will argue that no, it's not the shortage of oil that is the cause of rising price of petrol. It is the monopoly power of the oil industry in the United States or the oil industry around the world. It's their monopoly power that's the main cause of rising price of oil. So, how come this monopoly power is the main cause of high gasoline prices? Well, there have been more than 2,500 mergers in the oil industry in the United States. Exxon and Mobil used to be two different companies. Each was making about $5 billion in profits in the early 1990s. They decided this profit was not enough for them, so they decided to merge. Now, there are laws against this type of merger. There are antitrust laws in the United States which say that companies which make a lot of money should not be allowed to merge with each other. And if the government does not enforce these laws, then it is official corruption. The government is taking money. The government officials, in order to get elected, are accepting campaign contributions from these oil companies. Then they turn around and pass laws in their favor or ignore laws that will prevent their merger. This is nothing but corruption. But the question is, how do these type of mergers raise the price of oil? Now, it's true that oil demand is rising. There is worldwide increase in demand from China, India, even the United States. But oil supply is also going up. Now, economic theory says that if demand goes up and supply rises at the same time to match that rise in demand, there is absolutely no increase in the price. Yes, oil demand is rising, but supply is rising from Canada, from Russia, even Saudi Arabia. So if you look at the world demand-supply situation, you find that supply is rising just as fast as demand. During the 1980s and the 1990s, there was no jump in the average price of oil. The average price was around $25 per barrel.